see, I went through a huge David Lynch rabbit hole, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago.
Rabbit's hole. Sorry.
Yeah, rabbit's hole. Funny. And it drove my ex-wife crazy. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we're ex-partners now. So I think I'm going to do this intro thing now.
Sweet.
Greetings, citizens of Earth. Welcome to Accelerativ Thrust. I'm Dan.
And I'm Erik.
And today you are going to listen to us talk.
Wow. Aren't you the lucky ones?
Yeah, I bet you guys are really excited considering that lengthy intro that I'm sure Erik is not going to edit anything out of.
I don't know if I'm leaving any of it in.
Yeah. But anyway, I literally watched, because this was when I was still going to the library and checking out DVDs, sort of pre-streaming, like we still had a family video and whatnot. And I was still going to the library and checking out movies. And I was able to get literally every David Lynch film from the library, not the bus or public library, but you could special order, from other libraries. And through that, I was able to get, the short films, Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Elephant Man, Straight Story. I mean, all of them. And anyway, and then I watched the entire Twin Peaks series. And this was over the course of like a month. And I just remember it was the only thing that was on the TV whenever I was home. And I just remember one day my ex-wife comes in and says, "Are you going to watch more of that David Lynch crap?" And I was like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Before that, I had seen a couple episodes of Twin Peaks, and I had seen Fire Walk with Me, and I had seen Racerhead, but never anything else. And I just got to say, man, he changed the visual game, and he wasn't a filmmaker that was for everybody. That's for sure. However, I think a lot of stuff visually that exists now would not exist without the influence of David Lynch.
Yeah, for sure. And not even just film, but music as well.
Yeah.
Like I know personally, I would definitely not make the music I make without David Lynch. And specifically the Twin Peaks soundtrack. But,
I can see that.
You can even look at Eraserhead as the sound design of that being a precursor to dark ambient or something.
Yes.
I don't know, just all kinds of little facets of what he did, I think influenced major movements in art. Stuff that was just an element of what he was doing became people's entire deal.
Yeah.
I've shared the story on here before that when I saw Ben and Blue Velvet sing Roy Orbison into a Trouble Lamp, that was it. My life was dedicated to darkness, and I knew exactly what how I was going to form the vision of pretty much everything I did from that point on. So it's a pretty big deal for me, but I'm just not one of those people that, I don't know, gets sad when people die. I know that sounds weird, but the 5 stages of grief or whatever, I just go straight to acceptance. I'm just I'm glad they were here. I'm glad I knew them. I feel lucky to have experienced a world that they were in. And that's what is there after that? If you think back about someone who's gone now and all your memories are how fun it was and how nice it was instead of how much you miss them, then that's a pretty good place to be. So I just kind of skip all the BS and go straight to that.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I don't really cry at funerals or anything like that. But I just find the concept of time very strange. Like I find, when my mind wanders off into like the past, it's just odd, that, at one time, those people were breathing the same air as you and doing all these human things that we all do. Most of us do collectively, and I don't know, that always gets me like a little bit, or I just sort of think about the strangeness of time, the past, present, and future. I just find it really strange and interesting. Human existence is very, very, it's very much an odd thing,
It's an extremely odd thing. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I got to be honest. I think I used all my energy in the last episode.
Oh yeah,
I was pretty wound up. I was wound up.
That was definitely like
for Machine Girl, and now I don't have any energy left.
And how can you not have some level of energy listening to that album?
Yeah,
I mean,
I spent it.
Yeah, that was definitely an experience. Well, so far this new format has been working out pretty well, though.
So far, yeah.
I've actually received a few comments.
Ooh,
a few,
wow.
A few people have told me that they like this new format. That it's a little shorter now, and that
I like it better,
and that it's coming out more consistently again.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. It's only the third week in the year.
Yeah, right.
We'll see what happens.
I think, isn't it this Friday when everyone quits their resolutions? The great quitting or something like that?
I didn't know there was a great quitting.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
really?
Where everyone gives up their resolutions.
They should call it the extraordinary giving up.
Yeah, I like that.
That would be a great album title, The Extraordinary Giving Up.
Yeah. You can't fail if you never try. That's what I always say.
You know who doesn't abide by that, though? And I can attest to this because I've been watching this show with my dad. Walker, Texas Ranger.
Okay.
With Chuck Norris. It's hilarious, man.
Wow.
But fun and entertaining show. I mean, if you like that sort of action stuff, like I kind of do.
Yeah, I never have, but, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not into that kind of stuff, you're probably not going to like it. He doesn't abide by the rule of giving up. He wouldn't like this National Day of Quitting that's coming up on Friday. Walker, Texas Ranger would put a stop to it.
Whoa.
He would, with his cowboy hat and his martial arts.
So I'm gleaning from the title that he's a Texas Ranger.
Yeah, and his name's Walker.
What is that? What does a Texas Ranger do?
Basically, a Texas Ranger goes out and puts a stop to everything bad. And also hangs from helicopters and breaks protocol, and is constantly praised for being the only person in the law enforcement that actually gets things done. He's got a sidekick who is always trying to match the awesomeness of Walker, Texas Ranger, but never can. So he's always like, can you just tone it down a little bit, Walker? And Walker's always like, well, I'll see what I can do.
So what's the sidekick's name?
Gee, I can't even remember.
Oh.
He's an actor that passed away. That's what I know. And I believe that he was in a couple of new Star Wars movies, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, it's hilarious that I'm talking about this show in 2025. I remember it when it was on TV, and I would not even, it's something I wouldn't even touch. So his name is Trevette. His sidekick is Trevette. Sidekick's not really the right word. It's like his partner. Clarence Gilliard is the name of the actor. I was wrong. He wasn't in Star Wars.
Oh, shit.
Any of the Star Wars, but he was in the Karate Kid Part 2. He played GI number 1. What the hell? How did I miss that?
Wow. A big role.
Yeah. Right? GI number 1. Anyway, I think that's a really good segue into the album we're reviewing today.
But I was going to talk about everything I do for you.
Oh,
Karate
the
Kid
Bryan
2
Adams song. Was it
I love
Karate
it so
Kid
much.
2? I don't think it was. No, Karate, because that came out in like what, 90s? The Bryan Adams song did?
I don't know. Let's find out. Karate Kid Part 2.
I know Karate Kid 3, I believe that one song, the night is shining on.
Oh, that's such a great. Oh, the glory. Yeah. The Glory of Love. Oh, yeah, what a song. Yeah. Oh, man. You know what? I love Peter Cetera, and I love like that era of Chicago. Those songs are so freaking good.
You know, I never really.
I'm not even joking.
Well, I believe you. They're fantastic musicians. Chicago is, but
once they gave up on that, they were way better.
on being fantastic musicians.
Yeah, like when they just had the producer play a synthesizer or whatever. That's when it became good. Oh my God! Hard Habit to Break. Jesus Christ! I'm just looking through these songs right now. Wow.
I'm unlocking a new level to Erik here. I did not realize you liked Chicago.
Oh, no, I have a playlist if anyone wants me to share it with them.
A Chicago playlist? Really?
Well, it's just 80s, 90s love ballads. Okay. Yeah, Chicago, Peter Cetera, Bryan Adams, Richard Marx, all the good stuff.
Bryan Adams has some jams. I do not care. I love Summer of '69.
Yeah, that's when I also got my first real 6-string. No, seriously though, Richard Marx, Right Here Waiting, so good. Endless Summer Nights, so good. I love this crap. God damn it. Let's get to this album.
Yeah, let's get to this album. So,
Christ.
Come on, everybody, it's record time.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is The Value of Human Life. The record is called The Cost of Human Values. The Value of Human Life, or stylized as TVOHL, from Cedar Falls, and currently consists of James Stortz on vocals and guitar, and synth, Kyle Karkosh on bass, and Trevor Eastman on drums. I had the pleasure of playing with The Value of Human Life the weekend before Thanksgiving at the Skate Church in Davenport, which is a killer venue. These guys were the opener, and they were a hell of an opener. I was really, really impressed, and I think that they probably were new because I had never really heard of them before this, and I got to say they were tight as hell. Basically, this to me is an EP. It's 5 songs, and it's just really well done indie rock. That kind of, it's sort of it's got a few different elements going on. There's definitely a psychedelic element to it, a little bit of a jangly element, and some groovy sort of desert rock, or I don't know, dare I say stoner rock to it as well. Definitely has like some really cool, just tight production, and I mean the rhythm section just pounds. The bass and drums come through very, very, very well and crystal clear. The guitar, there's a lot of really nice like guitar leads with some sort of reverby type stuff, and it's just a really, really great, sort of fun listen. I had quite a good time listening to it. The singer James has a really, really nice voice that is very much well suited for this style.
Yeah, it's an interesting listen. I honestly feel like I needed to listen to it multiple times to start to understand what was happening. I was trying really hard to figure out what it made me think of, or what I could even compare it to, because it's a mixture of things. I don't know. Like the only description I could come up with was melancholy Western grunge. And maybe maybe that's insane, but it was very grungy to me, like, and almost like proto grunge. Now I know it's not going to make sense to a lot of people, but back in the day, there was this compilation called the Scream compilation. And I think Scream was a club in LA. and it was a compilation of like bands that played there. And I found this record cut box at Musicland, I think, and it had Jane's Addiction on it, Pigs and Zen. It was the first time I'd ever heard Jane's Addiction because it's a very old record. I think 1987 or whatever is probably when I found it, 87, 88. Anyway, it changed my life because I'd never heard music like this. This was like in between hair metal and stuff, going into sort of alternative music or college rock or whatever. But the whole thing, the whole compilation, sorry to go off about this, has this like
No, it's fine.
weird vibe because no one is quite where they're going to be once alternative music actually becomes a thing. Like they're all just kind of feeling it out. And there's a song on there by the Hangmen called Rotten Sunday. And it really reminds me of that. And it took me a long time to remember what is it I'm thinking of. And it was this vibe from this comp. And so the way I heard it, it really was like a sound I hadn't heard in a really long time, you know, and something that I connected with from like I don't know, an earlier time before things were so solidified as styles and genres and stuff. And that's how this comes off to me, is like there's things they wanted to do. They wanted elements of garage rock, elements of grunge, you know, all these different things. And I think it works really well. And it comes off as not specific. And I like that a lot. I think a lot of times people are like, we are this kind of band and this is the kind of music we make, you know? And I don't really get that from this. This is more like, these are songs and this is our sound, but it's our sound by default because this is what my voice sounds like and this is what our guitars sound like. We're not trying to be anything, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that it was really, it's really cool. Like you said, yeah, the guitars are real interesting, twangy, and like just open strummed chords, almost like, what's that? I can see you every night for free. That Nirvana song.
Oh yeah, About a Girl.
Yeah, like the opening guitar strumming of that song, like that kind of shows up a lot in here too, you know? And then like these almost like garage rock leads and things. And then the voice is low and kind of morose, but also kind of theatrical. Like somehow between Nick Cave and Morrissey. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it works really well for this. And having never seen them, I don't know how this is presented. You know what I'm saying? So like, just through my ears, these are the things I'm picking up. So I may be way off base, but I don't know, you know?
No, I think you're actually a lot of what you just said is pretty similar to how I heard it. I think a lot of what really drives this album, besides the fact that they're just a really, really tight band, is the voice. And James has a really interesting vocal style because, like you said, Erik, it's somewhere between I don't know, this is going to sound like a real basic way to describe it, somewhere between a baritone and a tenor, because it's not so low. It's not like a Peter Steele from Typo Negative low or anything like that. But it is very theatrical. It does sound like at times like he's sort of singing through the perspective of a character or something. And I really, really like that. And so it kind of makes me wonder if that is an approach that he made to like sort of build like a narrative with the lyrics or the songs. Or if that's just the way that, I'm sure it is like the way that his voice naturally is, you know, but you can definitely tell. It sounds to me like they took a lot of time to develop their sound, and it does definitely hit on some of those nostalgic notes that you sort of that you have mentioned, Erik, because they do sound like kind of a band from the 90s, but like very, very modern at the same time. Like I haven't quite heard anything like this, you know, because it is like a mixture between, like I would say, like 70s classic rock, 80s like college rock, I guess you could say, and then like 90s grunge. And even like a little bit of like sort of like the 2000s garage stuff that you heard from like somebody like Ty Segall or something, you know? It has like a lot of these elements, which I'm sure they probably listen to a lot of this stuff. I think that his voice, and I wrote this down, I think his voice reminds me a little bit of a cross between Jay Mascis, Jim Morrison, and Calvin Johnson. Like it reminds me of like those three. And honestly, the music that they're making reminds me of a cross between Dinosaur Jr., The Doors, and Beat Happening, kind of.
Yeah, I get the Beat Happening for sure. Actually, I get all of it. Yeah. The things that it kind of brought to mind for me was, you know, like I said, that Scream comp, but the biggest was Flipper. Like, the delivery of the songs and the way they're somewhat, I don't know, lackadaisical at times, if that makes any sense.
Wait, hold on a second. I've never heard that word.
Without urgency, maybe.
Okay.
Is a way to put it. Like
Flipper was very much that way. They did kind of have like sort of I don't want to say slacker, but like, you know, kind of that sort of vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. But 13th Floor Elevators, Sonic Youth, Mudhoney,
definitely,
The Birthday Party, and Dead Moon. Like all of those things.
I can hear all of that.
Yeah. So that's weird. You know?
Yeah, and I want to add a few others.
Yeah.
I want to add a few others too that I think, because I think everything you just listed is so true. But like, so I already mentioned Dinosaur Jr., The Doors, and Beat Happening. I also would say Nick Cave.
Yeah.
I would also say certain eras of the Swans.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I would also say Velvet Underground a little bit. Galaxy 500. Mark Lanigan and sort of Jefferson Airplane influence going on. Man, these guys are really touching on something that I don't feel is being done a lot around this area. And
it's a cool record. It is definitely unlike other things I hear around here for sure, if not kind of anywhere right now.
Red sheets, love grows, there's magic in the air, blood boils.
What else have you been listening to?
So, I'll look at my playlist on Spotify because that's the most accurate representation.
Well, I'll go before you then.
Okay, go ahead.
I've been real into some weird stuff. Okay, you remember the group I talked about that I was way into when we did our best of? Their name was
Trepaneringsritualen.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So basically they do dark ambient or black industrial, or like, it's this, I don't know what this music is, but I've been really into it. And basically all of it is ambient noise, heavy drums, sometimes death metal vocals, sometimes orchestration, like classical orchestration. Anyway, some of my favorite ones have been Profane Grace, and the record is called Shredding Stars with Holes of Black. Pretty good. And then Imperial Triumphant, Vile Luxury Redux 1924 is pretty good. Yeah. Then I listened to a group called The Garden. The album's called
the
Horse Shit on Route 66.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
good.
That shit's great.
I listened to This Is Riot Jungle 2 by True Commando. Pretty amazing. And I don't know, as far as normal music, I listened to Doc at the Radar Station by Captain Beefheart.
I love how you consider that normal music.
Well, I mean, classic. Older.
Right.
And then some of this stuff is older, but it's new to me. So,
sure.
I don't know what this new music I really like is called, but, it's edgy. It's some edgy shit.
Sure.
It's a lot of death, and I don't know. If you look at the names of their albums and the song titles, it's probably pretty off-putting. But
sure,
I don't know. I just really like it.
Yeah. That's cool, man. It's a lot of interesting choices. I've been listening to a lot of jazz lately, actually.
Nice.
So Miles Davis, I really like the Birth of the Cool album. Charles Mingus, man, his record called Pithecanthropus erectus, which is like an early one. Very, very good, very weird. Ornette Coleman, speaking of weird, Shape of Jazz to Come and Tomorrow is the Question. And then as far as I guess rock or whatever, as you would say, like normal music.
Right, yeah.
The Frogs, very kind of edgelordy stuff from the 90s, for sure. I still get a laugh out of it. Anyway.
Well, what do you think? Call it?
I think it's time to wrap this up. Time
of death, 12 noon, inauguration day.
Oh, shit, it is already 12 noon, isn't it? So, has he been sworn in yet?
I don't know.
Okay, well.
No, let's not get political.
Yeah, let's not get political.
We're just talking about actual facts that are happening, and it's somehow political already. Don't even say his name.
Yeah, That's
political.
Say it. Yeah. Don't even say it. Let us know how we're doing, people.
I mean, we have an idea. It's not good. Maybe you could lift our spirits.
Oh, yeah. They can get a hold of us through Instagram, through email, accelerative without the .thrust@gmail.com. Those are probably the best ways. You could also message us through Facebook if you go to our page.
That's true.
But yeah, Instagram and Gmail would be the best way.
And carrier pigeon. I was just thinking of archaic communication techniques. Strapping a note to a pigeon and then sending it somewhere.
Oh, okay. So like a stork or something too, when they would drop the baby off, like in the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Pretty much just like that.
Yeah.
But I think that actually is how babies are made. Right?
they just fly in from somewhere.
As far as I can tell.
Oh my God. So anyway, I think hope to hear from you guys. If you have a band or a record that you want to hear us cover, let us know. All right.
Okay,
so
well
it was fun talking, and I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. And I think now's the time where we say bye.
Bye. Oh, Jesus.